Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Tactical Talk with Mad Dog Armory. I am Jillian, and this is my partner, Shad. We're very excited to be here and chat about an amazing industry, guns. Super fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're very happy to be here. We join you every Friday at 6 p.m.
Yep.
6 to 7 p.m. on lots of different platforms, webeamtv.com, Facebook, Mad Dog Armory's Facebook, our YouTube channel, also, Webeam and all that, all their outlets as well, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all the social media.
Check us out.
Definitely check us out. We're super excited to be here. Tonight's show, we're going to talk about shotguns and bug out bags, so stay tuned for that exciting content that we're going to have coming to you tonight. And we're super excited to be here. Like I said, Shad and I own Mad Dog Armory. We are the founders of a retail gun shop.
Gun shop.
Gun shop and retail gun shop and training. We have 2 locations now. Very excited about that. They're up on your screen. We have our OG, our Largo store, which is our original that we founded in 2016. And then we just opened up a South Tampa location in South Tampa, Florida. If you didn't catch that, we are located in the Tampa Bay area in Florida, in sunny Florida.
That's right.
Super happy about the weather.
State.
The gunshine state, exactly. The weather is finally getting nicer here in the Tampa Bay area. We actually took the boat out yesterday for a bit.
Yes, we
did
did.
Some marketing, some
Mad
some
Dog
boating.
marketing.
Yeah, so very excited about that. We're also very thankful to WeBeam TV for contacting us about doing a show like this because over the years we've been censored a lot. Being in the gun industry, there's a lot of censorship, there's a lot of misinformation and limitations on what we can do and say and what platforms we can advertise on and all different things that we've run into. So we're...
It can be very discouraging.
They've tried to bring us down, but it's not going to happen.
Trying to bring the brother down.
All right. But we're resilient and we need to stand strong and stand for our beliefs and keep going, right? Because our Second Amendment is super important and we love to defend that.
And you viewing and sharing and doing that stuff helps out quite a bit. So,
it really does. So we, again, thank you very much for watching and we hope that you learn.
All 3 of you.
All 3 people, all 3 people that are watching. We thank you for watching. We hope that we can educate you on some fun stuff.
Dad.
We hope to educate you as well as entertain you. Hopefully a little. Shad is my husband, so it
Partner.
is partner. I say partner, but he's also my husband and business partner, life partner. So you are my partner. I mean,
it just sounds funny.
My lesbian partner. I'm just kidding. My
I
man
am a lesbian. For sure.
Probably inappropriate for that. Sorry, Mom. But he is my partner in business as well as life, and we are very passionate about your gun rights and your Second Amendment, as well as all the other amendments, and we'll fight for your rights. So we appreciate you watching. Thank you. All right, so we did our little intro here. So today's topic, like I said, I wanted to introduce the shotguns to our show and our education purposes. Last week we talked about concealed carry guns, popular options that are available for you. We talked about each one, kind of compared them. We also talked about holster options briefly. Yeah, we're running a little low on time, so we are kind of new at this, so we appreciate your patience with that.
We'll do some more with holsters, a little bit more in depth.
We will,
at a later date,
for sure. Yeah, and anything we run low on time, we'll always bring it back to you, for sure. Yeah. But tonight's show, we are excited about shotguns and also bug out bags. So bug out bags, if you don't know, are an emergency type bag that you have available for any type of emergency situation when you gotta when you gotta get out quick and you don't know what to grab. This is something to help you prepare for that you can just grab it and go.
Exactly. You don't have to think about it. You grab the bag and you go. It should have your stuff in it that you're going, some necessities that you're going to need, whether it's some clothing, ammunition, guns, safety kits, whatever. We'll go over that stuff.
Yeah, we're going to go over everything that you should have in there. especially what's going on with Ukraine. People are, having to leave their homes very quickly.
Right.
And so if you don't think it could happen to you, it definitely could,
Right.
because you never know what's going to happen, especially with
Sleepy Joe.
running the country the way he is and talking about, stupid things like
Yeah.
what's going on with that whole situation in Ukraine. So you never know what's going to happen. So prepare. That's what we're here to help you about. So we are going to talk about the bug out bags and who needs them, what you should have in it, and things like that. So we'll get into that.
So how did we get on the idea of doing shotguns? What was that kind of
Very
about?
good. That's awesome. We actually when we were thinking about the topic for today, we actually had a very cool thing happen in our Tampa location. We had a couple get married, and some of the news outlets are calling it a shotgun wedding, but ultimately a shotgun wedding is something that's not planned, and this couple did plan it.
Well, it's planned. If somebody gets pregnant, then usually the father goes, "You're marrying my daughter now." So that's pretty much how that got its name, using a shotgun.
I mean, that's back in the day. I
Right.
mean, I don't think now.
Not so much.
Not so much.
Well, maybe in West Virginia.
Sorry, West Virginia. Don't take offense to that. But yes, we did have a shotgun wedding happen. Like I said, it was planned. They did ask for our permission. They are up on the screen. Yes, that's Jason and Jennifer. They got married at our South Tampa location. We're super excited for them to start their
Right.
endeavor in marriage, and I believe it's their second marriage each. So,
yeah.
so it is their second time around, and
They're customers of ours.
they are,
and
yes.
they're really, really passionate about firearms.
I mean, how cool is that, huh?
She's new to firearms, kind of like when you and I got together.
Sure.
She knew nothing
Yeah.
with firearms when they met.
Correct.
And he is a huge gun guy.
Enthusiast, yeah.
Exactly.
And
But-
fun fact, his son used to work for us.
Yes, he did. Hey, Wyatt.
He doesn't anymore, but ultimately his dad is who got married, Jason. And they asked for our permission to do it. I was shocked when Shad called me and was like,
Right.
"Hey, I got a weird request today." And I was like, "Oh no," I was waiting for it. Like, what happened now? Jennifer wanted to hold her AR-15,
Yep.
which she's an enthusiast, and she couldn't clearly find a place where that
Right.
would allow her to be married while
Holding her
having
AR.
her AR-15 there.
So we made her bouquet, her AR-15 with some
Yeah.
flowers on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She made it, but she stuck it in the barrel. I put a chamber flag in. Of course, the guns were all checked and
Right.
cleared, but he
And then-
also carried a 1911,
Yep.
one of his favorite guns,
Yep.
so we allowed him to do that.
Yep.
And they brought their officiant, and I believe it was her son and daughter.
I think
But,
so.
they had their two children there.
Yeah.
So that was very cool. So a wedding at Dog Armory, South Tampa. I mean,
And it got some exposure.
It did,
definitely
yeah.
get some exposure.
Absolutely.
We've had a couple of different people contact us in regards to it. I've had some of our distributors go, "Hey, I saw the information." It's pretty neat.
yeah.
So, yeah.
It's getting a lot of attention. So we're excited for them, and thank you for choosing us, and we were more than happy to oblige, and we're
I
very...
think we were their second choice, but nonetheless. But thanks for
That's
it
okay.
happening anyway.
That's
It's all
okay.
good.
We forgive them. That's all right. All right, cool. So last week's show, we actually had a repeat on the actual week of the show
Correct.
because we had very exciting news that happened in our family. We had a new addition
Yes, we did.
in our family. So one of our family members had an amazing, beautiful, healthy baby girl, and mama's doing great and baby's
Yep.
doing great. So we're very excited, but we did miss taping for last week. So we do apologize for that, but we ran the silencer one, I believe, the one that was on
think so.
silencers. So that one's great if you're interested in finding out more about silencers.
Right.
That's definitely a good one to watch, but that's what last week was about. So, so moving on. So tonight's topic, we're going to talk shotguns. Very excited about this topic. So some uses for shotguns. So shotguns are long guns, but not all shotguns are long guns. So would a shockwave be a long gun?
So a shockwave is considered a firearm.
Okay.
Now, a long gun is a long gun, so that's a rifle. So the ATF dictates this stuff, and they have certain terminology for each thing. A shotgun is its own class. So as opposed to a long gun being a rifle cartridge or a pistol caliber cartridge, a shotgun is its own classification for the ATF.
Okay. So even if it has, and I'm probably getting ahead, but even if it has like a pistol grip on it, because some shotguns you can change out the
furniture.
the furniture to make it, instead of being shouldered, it could be a pistol grip.
Correct.
Would that make it not
It would
no
still be
longer
considered
a
a shotgun.
Okay,
So
it's-
it might be considered a pistol grip shotgun at that point.
Okay.
But it would
gotcha.
still be considered a shotgun. But when you brought up the Shockwave, Mossberg, many, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 years ago, however long it was ago, came up with an idea, because there are certain requirements that the ATF has for a shotgun. It was a certain overall length. It was, some other stuff. But what they did is they found some loopholes in their classifications.
Love that.
So they came up with the Shockwave, which has a shorter barrel and a average barrel length, or the shortest barrel length for a shotgun is supposed to be 18.5 inches and have a stock. That clearly does not have a stock, and it's shorter than 18.5 inches. So it's not considered a shotgun. It's considered a firearm. So that's its classification, as firearm.
Right. And there's, we love when manufacturers kind of go around these rules and regulations that are put in place by...
We just follow the rules, right? They make them, we follow them. Just saying.
Exactly, yeah.
And you can't change them on the fly just because you don't like it. Sorry, you already made the rules.
Right. They do, though.
Yes, they do. Yes,
So, anywho, all right. So let's get into some uses for shotguns. So who would have a shotgun? So
The question is,
anybody.
who shouldn't have a
Who
shotgun?
shouldn't have a shotgun? Shotguns are great.
Absolutely.
If you don't know if it's right for you, the different uses that I've come up with, hunting. A lot of times you can
Sure.
hunt with a shotgun.
Absolutely.
You can use shotguns for home defense.
Yep.
That sound, that sound, right?
Yep, for a
These
pump
guns are all
action.
clear here. So the pump action, the release, right? So that sound, if that's not a deterrent for home defense, I don't know what is.
Right.
So that, sound is something that somebody, if they break into your home or
It's
you
very
hear
unmistakable.
something. Yeah, for sure. I actually looked for a ringtone with that sound, but then I thought for sure I'd be shopping in a store somewhere and somebody would text me and the ringtone would go off and I would get down. So everybody's going to hit the floor. So I decided against it, but I'm curious
Probably
if there
a good
is a
idea.
ringtone like that.
I'm sure there is. If not, we can make one.
But
Just
I
saying.
really did think that sound is very distinctive, and I'm sure you would agree.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So for home defense, trap and skeet,
Sure.
right? Or clay
Clay?
shooting. Is that
So
the same
that's
as
skeet. Yeah,
trap?
they
Okay.
use clay pigeons for skeet and trap, and it's just
Okay.
different variants of how and what happens on what skeet and trap are.
Right,
So
and
that's
which
basically-
shotgun you would have. Because it seems like when we've gone, the barrel length is much longer in
Correct.
a trap and skeet gun, whereas like maybe you wouldn't have something like that for
home
self-defense,
defense,
for home,
correct.
for
Yep,
home defense,
absolutely.
right? Okay, perfect. So collecting too is a great option for shotguns too, because guns right now are great investments.
Absolutely.
It's always good to invest in your future, and people are starting to collect because the value, just like
Right.
real estate and other things. This is a tangible item that
Correct.
goes up in value. So we have some old shotguns that have been passed down through generations,
Yep.
and they're very valuable. So collectors definitely,
Yeah.
it's a good option.
We got an older double barrel 12 gauge here that's, it's
Oldies.
from the early
They've been around
1900s,
for
yeah.
a while, right?
Oh,
Shotguns?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yep.
All right, so those are some uses for shotguns. I wanted to get into some common calibers of shotguns, because a lot of times I'll hear in the shop all different numbers, all different sizes, and I kind of wanted to break that down. What's a 12 gauge, and there's like 3.5 and all these other, things about the shotgun actual cartridge. So I wanted to break that down for people that don't really understand what that means.
Right.
So some common calibers and that shotguns
Come in, right.
come in, are chambered in.
So the
You-
most
would you say
popular,
chambered in?
yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
are
the most
chambered in.
popular cartridge for shotgun is 12 gauge.
Right.
So back in the day, let's start off by going, if we can throw up the cartridge sizes up for us on the screen.
Yeah, there
Because
you go.
ultimately, the one on the far right is an 8 gauge, and the one on the
Like
far
the
left
maroon.
is a 410 gauge.
The green.
Yep. So the funny thing is the size, if it's bigger, is actually smaller. So the number 410 is bigger than 8.
Right.
But
But
it's
the
actually
410 is smaller.
Right.
Right, than the 8.
Right.
Well, that
so the
doesn't
smaller the
surprise me.
number, the bigger the actual size of the bore
Right.
of the gun. So the second one over, that reddish pink, that is a 12 gauge. It kind of shows you it's about the size of a quarter, give or take, diameter-wise. And then you get into your other sizes, whether it's a 20 gauge, 16 gauge, 28 gauge, 410. There's all sorts of different gauges. But the most popular and the most common currently nowadays, your 12 gauge,
12 and 20.
your 20, and your 410.
Okay, yeah.
Those are going to be your three most popular gauges.
And the 410, what's interesting about the 410 caliber is it can also go in some firearms that we carry. So like the popular Judge revolver,
Taurus
that'll
was
take a 410.
Inventive, and they decided to go ahead and put a 410, that one on the far left of the screen. They decided to put that into a handgun, into a revolver.
You would think that would be terrifying, like it would be too big to actually...
It's really not too bad at all. It's really enjoyable to shoot. Bond Arms also created some Derringers that take 410.
Yeah.
And in that chambering, it's actually kind of interesting because in that chambering, 410, it's actually the same diameter as a 45 long Colt. So these companies actually have them dual chambered so you can shoot 45 long Colt or 410 out of them. So it's actually pretty neat.
Yeah, that is very cool.
Yeah.
I was very surprised when years ago when somebody came in and said, you know, I need 410 for a revolver. I was like, what? 410 for a revolver? Like that seems a little, but now, you know, it makes sense.
They're
like you
really
said.
cool.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right, so the ammunition, the manufacturers print on the box kind of a lot of the information about the actual cartridge because there's a lot of information to know, you know, velocity and the pellet size and what would be some of the things that are on the box.
Right, so there's going to be a couple of things we're going to go with.
Actually, we have a box behind you, but the critical...
I should have. There we go. All right.
Did you hear that?
Yeah. Oh,
did you hear that?
Yes, I did. If you've seen the commercials, you know what we're talking about. Anyway, so here's some critical duty or critical defense from Hornady. On the box, it's going to tell us that it's a 2 3/4 inch, and that tells us that it's 2 3/4 inch height. We know it's a 12 gauge. 12 gauge, not doing well. 12 gauge tells us it's this diameter, and then the 2 3/4 inch tells us that it's this tall.
Okay.
You're also going to have a 3 inch and a 3.5 inch. And when you get a 3.5 inch, I'm sure as you can imagine, when things get bigger, they usually call them magnums. So the 3.5 inch is usually a magnum, and it's usually for turkey. It's turkey loads, because those smart little bastards, you really got to hit them hard.
Are turkeys smart?
They are smart fuckers.
Really?
Yeah, they really are.
God, they're really ugly in person.
Wild turkeys, right? Not your just throw them in a pen and fatten them up for a Thanksgiving turkey. But a real wild turkey, those little suckers are smart as shit. It's pretty impressive.
They're really weird looking in person. Like when we went to a charity shoot.
Wild turkeys are different, absolutely.
I mean, those were, oof. I wasn't expecting
They're not your big plumpers that are,
I mean, you see before I saw one in person, you know, you see the pictures of them and you just see like their beautiful tails, you know, and they're just like have the little gobble thing, whatever. And Beard? Is this called a beard?
Well, so wild turkeys have a piece coming off of their kind of chest, and it's literally, it looks like a beard. And the longer the beard, the older the turkey.
Wow. I call it a gobble thing, so I'm sure it's called a beard.
Well, then you have your waddle, right? Your little, right? That's different than a beard.
All right, we're getting off topic.
Anyway,
so
on the
fun.
box.
Yes, back to the box of ammo. Okay.
We're going to have, it's going to tell us it's a 12 gauge. It's going to tell us that it's 2 3/4 inch. It's going to tell me that this is double-aught buck. Now, what does that mean?
Yes.
So we do have some pellet sizes we can throw up on the screen. This particular guy is kind of see-through. There we go. So double-aught buck is going to be a bigger, almost like ball bearing size.
Yeah.
And then as we start to go down, we got number 4 shot, which is going to be a little bit smaller than that. And then you have triple-aught buck. And then you start getting into a bunch of other different numbered shots. And those numbers just keep, the shot keeps getting smaller and smaller and smaller. You also have what we call rock salt. I'm sure people have heard that before, which is basically, it used to actually be rock and salt, literally. But now it's just really, really, really fine, small particles of stuff.
Right. So the rounds in shotgun shells are very interesting. So they are filled with those pellets that were just up on the screen. So, I mean, they are nasty. So when they come out the barrel, you know, how typical pistol rounds usually are, you know, the 30,
Single.
the 380, the 9 mil, the 45.
One bullet. This is multiple coming out.
Right. So that round that was up, that slug. So it has a solid projectile. Does it also have pellets underneath?
So
there
are some manufacturers that do make some self-defense rounds nowadays that have multiple items inside of them. So on the 410 specifically, because of the judge, you're starting to see a lot more home defense items where it's going to have a 45 caliber slug in the front, and it might have a ball bearing back behind it, and then it'll have a bunch of number 7, 8, 9 shot back behind that. So it really is a devastating delivery system.
Yeah,
cool.
The shotgun shells are really, I want to say nasty because they are, they spray almost, right? Would you call it like a spray? So you have all of those little pellets, I guess, different sizes, like Shad was just saying, all that, the double up buck and all that. And when it comes out of the barrel,
they live inside of what we call a wad. So there's actually a little thing that kind of helps keep them together inside of that. So as it comes out, that wad falls off at some point in time, which then starts to disperse those pellets. And it's a cone, so it just kind of goes out. As it goes out, they kind of spread faster and faster.
Yeah.
There are some shotguns that on the ends of them, we can put what we call chokes. And a choke is going to help tighten that pattern or widen that pattern based on the end of the barrel.
Gotcha.
And that's stuff that you can add and remove, but it does have to be made to handle the choke.
Okay. And that would go in the barrel of the gun?
It does. They actually screw in and screw out.
Okay. Yeah, because so we were talking in the car about the rounds and basically how she was talking about pigeon shooting, basically. And
Clay pigeons and,
because
how
the
they're
way,
used for birds. And,
because the way this would hit somebody for home defense, right? So you use a shotgun for home defense and you hit somebody with something like this, it kind of like blows a hole in the person. Like it removes I mean, it really is nasty. So I was like, wow, if you hit one of these with a hit a bird with these rounds, it would destroy it. There would be nothing left. And Shad said, no.
Well, you got to figure how far away are they? Right, how far away are they? And again, everything's going to be dispersing as it's going away. So you're shooting something 15, 20, 30, 40 yards away. They're not getting every single pellet.
Right, the way it would at a close distance.
Exactly.
Right,
exactly.
and that makes total
and people
sense.
think that inside your house, you go to shoot it, and all of a sudden it's going to it's not going to do that.
Right.
It's still going to have
concentrated.
A little bit more concentrated.
Yeah.
It will start to spread, but it's not, you still pretty much have to aim it.
Yeah.
It's not I can just point at that general vicinity, but so.
Right.
And then how many do we have?
Right.
Because there are different loads, right? Double up buck is going to be the most popular load, which gives us 9 BBs or pellets in this thing, which is, again, pretty devastating.
I mean, they are nasty. When I even just looking at them, so I was trying to, when we were coming today, I was like, grab a whole bunch of, the clear ones so you can kind of see what's inside. And I guess a lot of them don't come like this. There's certain ones that do, and sometimes they're covered by the case.
Yep, it's just the color choice, whatever, but some are clear, some are...
Seeing these inside, I'm like, oh my gosh, getting hit with these at a close
I don't want to get
distance.
shot with anything, but holy shit.
I mean,
that's brutal.
Nasty.
Yeah,
really nasty.
Yeah.
So...
you're going to have to do some redecorating.
Gosh.
For sure.
It's horrible to think of. All right, so I think we covered the calibers and the ammunition and the different types. Is there anything you want to add?
And size, so we kind of talked about size. There is one more thing also, and we kind of talked about Aguila makes what we call a mini shell, shotgun mini shell, which are really freaking cool. So we got them up on the screen. The one on the left is a regular 12 gauge round, so 2 3/4 inch. And then the ones next to it are the mini shells, which are 1 3/4 inch. So it's not quite, but almost half the size of a regular shell. So depending on your firearm, like we have a Kel-Tec KSG that accepts mini shells. So you can almost double your capacity. And for home defense, you're not shooting a far distance. So you don't need to have a whole lot of power in order to deliver the payload you need to in a small, compact area. So now you can almost double your capacity. It's pretty phenomenal.
So what, I mean, other than doubling your capacity, what would the benefit be? Would it be taking away from the full round? I mean, is it less pellets inside? I would
It's going to be
think,
less
so-
pellets and a little less charge.
Okay.
So again, it may not be as hot of a shot,
Okay.
coming out of it. So there can be multiple advantages. There can also be some disadvantages because of that.
Okay.
So depending on how and what we want to use it for will kind of dictate a little bit of that.
Okay.
So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did want to mention the mini shells because they are popular. I know that you get more capacity.
Really
with
hard
them.
to come by right now. I mean, if you're looking for very specific kind of ammo, shotgun wise, it's still really, really tough to come by.
Yeah.
So-
And then there's also the clips. Do you have to have like that clip? Because I know we have like a mini clip or something
So
that goes with it.
Mossberg, for the Mossbergs, for your pump shotguns, there is a device that we can put into the racking system that you can put it in. You can do it. We can do it. It's very simple to add and subtract. But it's what we call a short stroke. So because it's trying to feed in a 2 3/4 inch item, and now it's going to go to a 1 3/4 inch item, we need to have something that fills that gap so that we don't just have it fall out and go, oh shit.
Yeah.
So
That makes sense.
Mossberg, there is stuff for Mossbergs, your 500s, your Mavericks, stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay.
And then, like I said, KSG, they now have their stuff, and I think Mossberg just recently started to make theirs standard. So
Okay.
on
so
their
it can accept it without the
on
clip.
their shock
Okay.
waves and stuff like that. Yes.
Sweet.
So,
Awesome.
Yep.
Very good. Well, thank you for adding that. So that's very good. All right. So if you have any additional questions for us about any kind of shotgun shells that have questions about or anything
Yeah.
like that, feel free to reach out. But let's get into the different types of shotguns. So like I said, we brought some different styles, different types. It seems like different kinds of shotguns can have wood furniture. It can look tactical. Is there like if one has like wood furniture, can you make it tactical looking, or is it just specific to being that wood?
More than not, again,
Okay.
depending on the manufacturer, more than not, you can remove hardware. And when we talk about hardware, we're talking about the stock, we're talking about the foregrip. Usually you're able to change that stuff out.
Okay.
So there usually needs to be a pretty good run on the guns. So they're making a lot of them in order for companies to want to make a lot of accessories where you can change that stuff out.
So you can customize them.
Correct.
But the newer ones, or the ones that are most popular, that they're really like banging them out, that they're going to
They'll-
take the time to make those
Correct.
changes so they can
Correct.
make more money.
Some off brands or some not so well known manufacturers, you may not have as many or may not have capabilities to change that stuff out.
Okay, gotcha.
So,
Okay, cool. So we talked about the pump in the beginning, the pump shotgun, which
Yep.
is which is this guy here.
Yep.
So this is your typical style pump, right? Where
Kind
you're
of,
gonna
sort of, but
have-
not really. But yes.
This one's a little bit
This is their
different because this.
stainless marine grade. So
Correct.
this is not a newer gun. So their newer marine grade, unfortunately, is shit because they just Cerakote it as opposed to actually using real stainless steel like they used to make.
Yeah,
back
this
in
one's
the good old
heavy.
days.
I'm like
Yeah.
doing.
It's got a little, workout.
Doing a
She works
workout.
out.
Doing a workout here. So I like the stainless because
Yes.
it is marine, so
Yes.
that's nice because
and
especially
we're on boats quite a bit.
We're on boats.
Yep, we like to have stuff that's protected and not rusting.
correct.
And again, the newer stainless steel is still it's
Not as good,
it's
yeah.
not, yeah.
This one
This is a good
does
one.
have a safety, so shotguns can come with safeties or
Most
not
of
with
them do.
safeties.
Mhm,
Okay,
most of
most
them
of
do.
them do. So this one does have a safety on the top. It has the pump feature,
Yep,
right?
that's
And then
correct.
it has
A little heat
this is
shield.
the the barrel,
Yeah.
and then this is called a heat
heat
shield,
shield,
so it covers the barrel, and that just reduces the heat,
Help dissipate heat a little bit.
how hot it gets. And then this under here, where the actual pump mechanism is, this is the tube.
That's your feed tube.
Show it
So
the feed.
that's where your ammunition's going to sit.
Right.
And then if we just kind of keep holding it and we
Yep.
kind of turn it this way,
Okay.
and we can see here, this is where we'd actually put in the ammunition. We'd feed it in that way in order for it to then pump, which would then bring around
Cycle.
back in and put it back up in the chamber and ready to shoot.
Correct, because this particular one does not take a magazine.
Correct.
Do any pump shotguns take magazines?
Yes, there are newer manufacturers, well, I shouldn't say newer, but in the past several years, they started to add magazines to shotguns. And whether it's a pump shotgun or a semi-automatic shotgun, they're starting to add magazines. So Mossberg, Remington,
The 590.
that's one of the Shockwaves right there, magazine-fed Shockwaves, which are really cool. They also do their full-size ones as well.
Right. And the magazine is pretty thick, too. Like on that 590 we've had in the shop.
That thing is impressive.
I mean, it's a big magazine around.
You could
and
probably run that thing over with a car, and it's just honky-dory. It's a pretty massive
piece of equipment. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So the basic guts, basically, of a shotgun, like we said. So this would be like the receiver portion.
That's
so that
correct.
would be your serialized item.
Yep.
Like I said, may have a safety. Usually does have a safety.
And it might vary. Mossberg puts their safeties on the Tang, and then you're going to have, down here would be your Remingtons, and some of your other manufacturers would have it down on the trigger guard-ish area, somewhere around there.
Yep.
So.
And then, as you can see, I'm going to put it upside down.
And
then I just got really southern,
Yes,
and
you
I'm
did.
from Long Island, so I don't know how that happened.
I
But
don't know
all right, so then, just kidding. So this is the stock portion,
That is the stock. That's correct.
and we can change this out on this one.
You could change that out.
Okay.
Yep. The butt pad, there's 2 screws on the butt pad. That comes out. It's going to give you one long screw that comes down that actually attaches it to the receiver. We can undo that. That will come off, and then you're able to add a pistol grip or maybe a combination of a pistol grip and a stock.
Right. And do they
So-
come in different lengths? Like, say, maybe the length from my shoulder, so when you're holding it, maybe I might, because it's not adjustable, right? So my
Not really.
reach might be different than yours.
But again, we could add something that gives you a collapsible stock, so
Okay.
kind of like an AR style, so that might give you better options on something like that. So there are additions, again, depending on the manufacturer and the model, you might be able to find some stuff.
Sweet.
So yes,
Okay. I also like in this stock, it has a little,
puts a couple extra rounds.
yeah, you can keep, it's got a little notch there to put a couple extra rounds here.
Yep.
So this particular one holds, how many?
5.
5. So yeah, and as
that-
you can see,
4 plus 1, so technically 5.
I'm going to flip it. As you can see, the barrel is longer than
The tube.
The tube. And sometimes you'll see the tube, the underneath, longer than the barrel.
Correct.
Which looks weird to me.
It does look different.
Yeah.
Ultimately, what that does, it just increases your capacity. And keep in mind that at some point, around this area, you could have something that sticks out further, because as the stuff comes out, it's not just going to immediately come out and hit it.
Right.
So
Yep.
you can take advantage of some of that space and increase your capacity.
Okay.
And you can add stuff at a later date.
Sure.
So there's actually 100%, you buy something that's like this and you get 100% add. I've had people that we've just talked to recently, like plus 2s, plus 3s, plus 4s.
Awesome.
So you can up that capacity quite a bit.
Okay. And then how about sights on this? I see a little dot here, but
It's a bead.
It's a bead.
It's a
You
bead, and
can't
it's
put
going to
like a
use the
light
receiver
Okay.
right back here.
easily. Put a
Correct.
light.
On this particular one, nothing's drilled or tapped on the top, so we couldn't add a rail. If we added a rail, we could probably put a red dot on it like we have on the KSG there.
Okay.
There are some options really depending on the manufacturer and what they've done.
Okay.
On the pump portion of this, you can find some manufacturers that have come up with accessories for like flashlights that might be built in, or you might be able to add a Picatinny rail, so you could add either a flashlight or a laser or something like
Yeah,
that.
let's
So
grab
there's-
that one.
Yes, there's lots of different options as far as that's concerned.
Awesome.
So,
So I'm
yeah.
going to grab the KSG because
Yep.
this one's pretty cool. This actually is one of my personal favorites.
Yep.
So Keltec came out with this guy here, and I think it's just so cool.
Right.
So this is very tactical looking. It clearly has a rail on the top that you can put an optic on.
It also has a rail on the bottom.
has a rail at the bottom. Now,
Yep.
is this magazine fed?
It is not, it's tube fed,
Okay.
so it's not magazine fed.
So this one is tube fed, so like the previous with the stainless one that we just showed
Right.
you. However, on this one, it has 2 on the bottom and then this on the top. So
Correct.
this is the top one is the
The
barrel,
barrel.
and then it has 2 feed tubes.
Correct.
Sick.
Yes. And it's 7 rounds per feed tube. So that means that's 14 rounds plus 1 in the chamber of 12 gauge.
And this is pretty badass.
It is extremely badass.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it takes the mini clips, like you said,
It can do mini shells.
mini shells.
Yep, it can
Sorry,
do
I
mini
said
shells.
clips, yeah.
Mhm. And it is a Bullpup style shotgun.
So
And
is it a
it's
short barrel rifle?
It's not.
Okay.
So it is a little bit different. And why we call it a Bullpup is because the action, which is way back here, is behind the trigger.
So you'd feed it here.
That's where you'd put your ammo in as far as, and then when you're pulling everything back and it loads it, so your chamber starts back here, the barrel actually starts right back in this area. So it is still an 18.5-inch barrel, even though it doesn't look like it's an 18.5-inch barrel.
It looks like a short barrel rifle.
Both of these are 18.5-inch guns.
Okay, gotcha. I don't know if you could see it, but yeah.
Put that one down.
This one down?
Big
Well,
difference.
yeah.
Because now look on the screen.
Oh, there you go.
Big difference.
Yeah,
Huge.
huge.
Yeah. Oh,
Huge.
that's what she said.
Oh, gosh. Okay, so, very cool. So this is your
Yes.
feed. This is where you
Your feed area.
load, right?
And unload. So if you need
And unload.
if you need to unload it, that's where stuff is going to come out of.
This is going to have your classic pump,
It is a pump.
sound,
That's
which is
absolutely correct.
great.
Yep.
It does have a safety.
That is
I
correct.
believe it's over here, right?
Right there. Yep. You got it.
So it goes here.
Yep.
So this is a great tactical. It looks cool.
defense.
It looks badass. It's pump. It's
Yeah.
got the red dot on it,
Yep.
the hollow sun, which gives you a really great view. You can easily see your target
Yep.
and easily kick some ass with this, for
Absolutely.
sure.
They make a little smaller version of that, the KS7, and it holds 7 rounds, so it only has 1 feed tube instead of 2. So
Yeah.
it's not quite as cool, but it's still cool.
Yeah, very,
So,
very cool.
yep.
Love it. Very tactical looking,
Yep.
very badass looking.
Yep,
All right, so
absolutely.
those are going to be your pump guys. There's a couple of other types. So semi-automatic. So
Yes.
these two are not considered semi-automatic.
Correct.
These are pump shotguns.
Yeah,
That is
because you have
the
to
type.
manually load it and unload it.
Correct.
Using the pump feature.
Correct. So a semi-automatic. What would something like that look like?
So this is a semi-automatic
Okay.
right here, and we'll just kind of.
Okay.
So semi-automatic, no pump. So this is literally just going to place for me to grab and hold on to. But this is my feed tube. This is a 20 gauge shotgun instead of a 12 gauge shotgun. So the barrel is a little bit smaller in diameter. But ultimately, that particular guy, we load it, we pull the trigger, it's going to unload it and load the next round automatically, just like any other semi-automatic.
And that's a Browning 20 gauge.
This is a Browning 20 gauge,
Okay.
yes.
So semi-automatics are not going to have the pump feature. They're just going to automatically one pull.
Semi-automatic, yeah.
Semi-automatic.
And
They're
that's one trigger pull, one
bullet,
projectile, yeah.
and then it's going to load another one in.
That's correct.
Okay, so
Yep.
that makes it the semi-automatic.
Now, we also have, nowadays, up on your screen, that was a double barrel. We're going to get that in a second. But we do have AR
12.
and AK style
Oh.
semi-automatics. So AR-15 or an AR-12, and then your AK style, so we have that up on the screen. That is a semi-automatic, but it's magazine fed. So we talked about potentially
Correct.
magazine fed on
Yes.
a pump. This is going to be your magazine fed on a semi-automatic.
Right.
And then,
And they call it an AR-12 because it's 12 gauge.
12 gauge, yep.
It's not to be mistaken with an AR-15, which is a completely different
Correct.
gun in,
Yep.
in itself.
Correct.
But the AR-12 is the model,
Right.
basically, right?
yeah.
That's cool.
IWI, so is Israeli Weapons Industry, also created their semi-automatic 12 gauge, and it actually holds 15 rounds of 12 gauge. It's got 3
awesome.
5-round feed tubes. It's pretty freaking cool too.
And what is that called? IWI. Oh, yeah, the green that we
Yeah.
have. Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And it comes in different colors because we've
Green,
had the OD
tan, and
green.
black.
Yeah. The OD
Yep.
green one is pretty cool, and actually it's St. Patrick's Day is coming up, so
Oh, yeah.
we got the green, so it's
That's
pretty
right.
cool. All right, semi-automatics, very
Yes.
cool. So the next one I want to talk about is an over-under or a side-by-side. We do have a demo of a
Side by side.
side-by-side, and meaning the barrel, it's a double barrel,
Yep.
side-by-side.
Two barrel,
So
side
it's
by
got
side.
one here and one underneath.
Yep.
And it's a top break, correct?
Yep. Push button, it pops open, those rounds come out, put 2 more rounds in, close it, and go.
Right. So these are going to be your, I like these a lot. They're stinking cool.
This is your older style gun. This is the one that that Biden talks about all the time about, going to put 2 rounds in it and go walk out on your porch and shoot them up in the air and scare somebody off. So then you're completely unloaded and unprepared to do anything.
Hate to talk about that, but
Oh,
that was
he's a
that was
moron.
when
Yeah.
he was in with what's his name, the
I
other
know,
one, yeah,
but still he's a
Obama.
moron nonetheless.
Yeah, so
whether
don't
it's
listen
then
to
or
him.
now.
Listen to us. But yes, the top break I like, and a lot of times
Yep.
you'll see at trap and skeet places that you'll see the person like have the shotgun open, right,
Mm-hmm.
and have it over their shoulder. It's showing clear and it's broken on the
Correct.
top.
Very, very
top
simple
break.
to show that it's not loaded. And I
Right.
think we have the over-under that we can show as well. So it does give it a little different look. There's our over-under.
Yep.
Right, and that is a Browning Satori. That is a very inexpensive firearm, clearly, as you can see it by your screen.
I chose that one
It is
for a
a
reason.
beautiful firearm.
Yeah.
So it's pretty impressive. So,
Yeah, it's very cool. There's a lot of different options, just like your carry guns, just like any other kind of style of gun.
Yep.
There are lots of different kinds.
And on that particular guy, you can also see it has 28 inches. So it's a 28-inch long barrel, and they'll go up to 32 or 34 inches. So
Yeah, that's very long, for
yes.
sure. And sometimes they'll come, I've seen them come with 2 different barrels that you can change out.
yes, that is
So
correct.
that would be
Yep,
more of a
different
trap
lengths.
skeet type thing
Yep.
that you can have a barrel that would be good for maybe home defense.
Correct.
And then another barrel for trap and skeet.
You'll find some that are going to maybe have an 18.5-inch barrel or a 20-inch barrel for your home defense or security stuff, and then have something 28, 30, 32, 34 for your skeet and trap. Yes.
Sweet. All right, so that'd be your over-under side by side.
Yep.
We didn't bring a bolt action shotgun, but there's also bolt action as well as lever action
Yep.
and single shot. So
Yep.
those are some other options that we didn't have an example of, but those are not as popular and not as common, I would say.
The lever action is starting to come back in right now, really.
Okay.
You know, and you'll find usually, I shouldn't say usually, but a lot of times your 410s are going to be your lever actions might be like 410s. We've had several Henry 410s in recently.
Smaller caliber.
Some of the smaller caliber stuff as opposed to your 12 gauge style stuff. But your bolt action, again, you can definitely different, whether it's 12 gauge, 20 gauge, 410.
Bolt action.
yeah.
Because usually rifles are bolt action. That's why I was surprised when you said, yeah, they make a bolt action shotgun.
It's just
not-
chambered in something different,
just
right? So
different.
instead of a
Yeah.
whatever it is, but instead of a 308,
Right.
it's a
12
410 or
gauge,
it's a 12
yeah.
gauge or something. So it's still
Sure.
just an action, a way to utilize something.
Sure.
So, yeah.
And so just like with any gun, like we talked about, just your intended use, your budget, specific features, do you want it to be more tactical? Do you want something that's going to, hold its value or get more valuable? Is it,
Sure.
something, so there's lots of different options. Do you want to put an optic on it? Do you, there's lots of different features and options out there for shotguns. So ultimately just do a little bit of research and go into your local gun shop, come into Mad Dog Armory. If you're local, we'd love to help you pick out the right shotgun for you. And if you're not local, definitely go into your local gun shop and talk to some sales guys there and get the different options, put them in your hand, kind of
What's your
figure it
budget?
out.
How are you going to use it, right? That's two of the biggest things is budget and how we want to utilize it.
Correct.
Can they be used for multiple things? Absolutely.
Sure.
What's the primary use going to be? That's very, very important. Ultimately, I kind of tell people you wouldn't want to buy a car based on how you're going to use it 10% of the time. You'd probably want to buy it based on how you're going to use it 90% of the time. So what's the primary use? How are we going to use it? And we'll help you try to find something that fits your needs.
Awesome. Well, that was very informative. I appreciate that. And we can go on for the entire hour on shotguns.
Plus.
So, but I did want to move on to the next topic, which is bug out bags, because I want to touch on that, especially, like I said earlier, with the Ukraine thing going on. And, you're seeing people fleeing their homes quickly under duress. And I'm hoping that some of those people had the option to prepare and have a bug out bag.
Really sad.
Yeah, it's very, very sad.
Yeah.
So first and foremost, if you're just joining us, thank you for joining. You're joining Tactical Talk with Mad Dog Armory with Shad and Jillian. We're talking shotguns and bug out bags tonight. We're on every Friday at 6 p.m. on WeBeamTV.com as well as YouTube. You can just
And
go
Facebook.
and
our
Facebook. Yes.
Not necessarily just Facebook,
Correct.
our Facebook.
Our Facebook, I believe it streams live as well as YouTube. And what I did is I set a little reminder on YouTube, and I'm able to get a little reminder on my screen that, hey, we're going live. And we're usually doing something when we go live too. And
We
it's,
usually are.
Yeah, so I'm like, but yeah, you can get a little reminder, and then this way you can join us live. All right, so bug out bags. I did bring our personal bug out bag, one of them, with us, which is this guy here. It's a very big bag.
Yep.
And this bag is particularly big because we have a couple of items that are bigger, but we do have a couple of other bags that are
Smaller.
like backpacks and different things, like it's called a scarab, right? Is that called
Yeah.
a scarab? So something like that. Can I have that for a second? So something like this is something that you can grab in a bug out situation. This is what our shotgun, actually this one, the Marine shotgun, is actually in, and it's hanging on our safe. So we can grab this very quickly, and this would also be some sort of, a type of bug out
Yep.
bag, right? But some other names for these bags, I was actually laughing. An inch bag. Have you ever heard of it being called an inch bag?
Can't say as I have.
I'm never coming home again. Inch.
There you go.
A good bag.
Definitely
Get
very good.
out of Dodge. Get
Nice.
out of Dodge.
Yeah.
Good, right?
Yeah.
And then a shift bag, or a SHTF, which is shit hit the fan bag. Shit hit the
Which
fan
does make sense.
bag.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we call them bug out bags. Some people call them go bags. Whatever you call it is very good to have.
Right.
So basically, you need to have a plan for your family. Who's doing what, right? Do you have kids? Do you have animals? Do you have small kids? Do you have teenagers? You
Sure.
need to figure out what's right for you. So everything is
Absolutely.
customizable. We're just going to give you a few tips here. We live in Florida. Hurricanes are frequent. Some people that live in other states that have tornadoes or whatever kind of disaster. It could be natural.
Right.
It could be like the Ukraine
Man-made,
stuff. It could be
yeah.
man-made. It could be riots. It could be whatever. Whatever is the reason why you have to
Peaceful
leave.
protesting.
Oh, sorry, peaceful protesting.
Right. Yes. There's no
but-
such thing as a riot.
but
Just
ultimately-
peaceful protesting.
You need to plan for this stuff. So
Yes.
plan ahead for these things. So rule of thumb as far as food, some people ask us, how much food should I have? They say a minimum of 5 days per person.
Correct.
So
Dehydrated stuff is usually the good stuff.
yeah, any kind of, like
MREs,
Cliff Bars,
whatever, yeah,
MREs,
stuff like
all
that.
that stuff, any kind of dry food, canned
Yep.
tuna, things like that. So have enough in your bug out bag for
Right.
5 days per person,
You-
okay?
With the canned food, it's tough because you want to try to cut down on weight.
Sure.
Because these things can get very,
does make
very,
sense,
very
yes.
heavy. So you do want to try to be mindful.
So this stuff is powder that you're seeing on the screen,
Correct.
and they've been very creative on making things very, very light that you can add water to.
Absolutely.
And they taste pretty good, like
Yes.
mac and cheese and things like that. So
We've tried some of them before, and they're actually
Yeah.
not too shabby.
right.
So
And are they gourmet? And are you going to want to eat it? If you're not in an emergency, no. But when you're hungry after not eating for a whole day, it's going to be delicious.
it's going to be phenomenal.
So phenomena. So ultimately, again, it's going to depend on your situation and who's with you and
Right.
what you have going on. But you're going to want to try to find out your local shelter. If there is some sort of evacuation that you can't be in your home, they have different shelters in your area that you're going to want to know. Which school do you
Right.
go to? Which church do you go to? Where do you go? How do you evacuate? What's the best
that's
way
gonna be
out
like
of
your,
the city?
For us, that's going to be your hurricane stuff and or tornadoes if you're in the Midwest, stuff like that.
For sure.
If the shit really hits the fan, and we're talking about the shit hitting the fan,
Right.
and you're going to be bringing stuff like this with you, you're not going to be looking for a shelter.
The same thing with animals. A lot of places don't take animals.
Correct.
So you're going to have to do a little research and figure out what the best place is. If you have other
Right.
family members that are in a different area, again, whatever it is, have your plan in place prior. Just like I teach our concealed carry classes, you never want to be Googling best criminal attorney at 2:00 in the morning, right? So
In jail.
This is the same, this is the same situation.
Right.
You want to plan ahead for this stuff. So some items that you should have in your bug out bag potentially, what is a general rule, any kind of medicine, right? Any kind of medicine you have.
Yeah, if you need medication, you definitely want to make sure you have some of that medication in your bag. For
Correct.
Sure.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you're going to want to potentially, if you take it every day, it's not like you're going to have a backup bottle. So ultimately having a list of items that you
Right.
can put in your bug out bag. So just have that list, like grab this stuff, grab
Mm-hmm.
your medicine, grab your dog's, whatever, grab this, grab that, if
Right.
it's not in your bug out bag. And I think medicine
Correct.
is going to be one of those things because you're not going to have a spare that could
Right.
potentially expire.
Depending on what it is, sure,
Right.
absolutely.
So-
Especially if it expires, for sure.
Correct. First aid kit, blankets,
100%.
flashlights, batteries. These are all things
Batteries?
that. What? I don't know why I'm channeling this.
Batteries.
Batteries. Batteries?
Batteries.
Okay, batteries. Okay. Portable phone chargers. Slap you. Portable phone chargers, your
Yes.
cables, right?
And they make a lot of those solar powered, so you can absolutely
Mm-hmm.
get a solar powered phone charger that, is great for the bug out bag.
Yes.
So talk about a great Christmas present or something like that, that would be phenomenal.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm going to grab our bug out bag just so we can open it up and kind of see what we have inside here. So our personal, again, this is just one of ours. The first thing I want to show you, and why this one is so big, I don't know which side it's in right now. I think it's in that side, is this fun guy. And this is something we'll probably do a show on. Yep. So this is
One of our plate carriers.
a plate carrier, right? Or any kind of tactical vest, okay? Again, depending on what is going on, you're definitely going to want to have something like this. The people in Ukraine that were leaving, they're being shot at. This is definitely something you're going to want for yourself and your family. You're going to want to put one of these on, and it'll help kind of keep you safe while you're running to safety, right?
Absolutely.
So we will definitely do a show on these, the different levels, because I know there's all different levels. There's different
plates
types.
you can put into it, sure.
Correct.
Yep.
So some of these actually have like a plate type style built into it.
Correct.
So
Yep.
what would you call it? Just a plate?
Well, this particular one is a plate carrier, and then you might have soft armor, potentially as well. So there's a couple of different options that you could have. The plate carrier that we have there, that's kind of what we're going to call a kit, and you can kit that thing out with different magazines for your
Yep.
different firearms you're going to be carrying along with your protection. You might have comms on it. You might
Right.
have all sorts of different items.
Exactly. So I wanted to show you that. We took some stuff out because it was a weight thing and traveling, but
Yeah.
we each have one that we
already have it kitted up.
keep in, right. Masks, different kinds of masks. You're going to
Yep.
want to have that stuff. And
And it's not necessarily because of the coronavirus stuff. This is just in general. I mean,
general.
Just, yeah.
depending on what's going on, gas stuff that they
Whatever.
use against you, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Of course, cash.
Some greenbacks.
Very, very important to have there. Any kind of documents having to do with your insurance, your homeowner's insurance, any important documents, birth certificates, passports. Passports are not something that you have readily accessible. I mean, we have
Right.
them in our safe, of course, and we have important documents.
And if you're going somewhere, you have no idea where you're going to be, where you might end up, where
Right.
you're going to go, where you might end up.
Correct. I mean, look-
we have a boat. So reality is if really shit really does hit the fan, we're going to hop on a boat, and who knows, we might end up in Cuba. Who
Right.
knows?
And it's thank you for saying that, because it's very important to have sandwich baggies, gallon baggies. It's
Yes.
very, very important to have that stuff, because you might be out in the elements. You might be in
Yep.
the wind and the rain. You're going to want to protect these documents for sure to make sure that they're not getting ruined, right?
You want to have some flint. You want to have something where you can potentially
Start a fire.
if need be.
Can you put
Yep.
this back there? And then this guy here has some stuff in it too that we'll go over real quick. You're always going to want to have an emergency kit, medical kit. So this is a small one. We have all different sizes with different things in it. But you're going to want to have, this is also another show that we could potentially do, right? To bug out bag, medical kits and what to have in
Sure.
there. What do you call it?
Tourniquets.
Thank you, tourniquets.
Need a tourniquet.
Definitely
Anything having to do
have
with
a tourniquet.
firearms, you need to have a tourniquet available at all times.
Absolutely. Tape, right? Knives, walkie-talkies, very important. Flashlights, water jugs. This is radio.
Yep.
Lots of batteries. You're going to want to have a
And
backup radio.
That's also chargeable. You can wind it. So
Yeah, I thought
different kind
it
of
might be in
items, but
there.
again, flints.
fire starter, knives.
Flint,
Yeah.
Yep.
So this is just another part of our kit, but it's very important to think ahead and plan ahead, like
Yep.
I said, and then have that paper with your list of things that you're going to grab at the time of the incident
Right.
because of expiration and things like that.
Sure.
Water, I mean, unfortunately, you're not going to want to grab a case of water or a gallon of water that's going to weigh you down. So there
Right.
are water purifying.
Purifiers. Yep.
You're going to want something like that so you can
You can get
purify
the
your
tablets
water.
as well, so you're able to put water into something. You
Mm-hmm.
drop some tablets into it. That's going to take care of any kind of chlorine and kill any kind of bad bacteria where you're able to drink the water.
Yeah,
So-
for sure. I threw a bottle of water in here as we were leaving just to make sure. I remembered to talk about that because, you're not going to want to throw a gallon of water in your
Right.
bag. It's going to be very heavy. So
Yep.
definitely those tablets, great idea.
Yep.
Lots of these.
Lots of magazines.
Lots of magazines, very
Yep.
important. I grabbed a
enough.
couple of those. So yeah, whatever firearms you have, you're going to want to grab magazines for.
Yep.
If you have a backpack style firearm, which we brought the Ruger 1022,
1022.
that is an actual style of a gun that actually is broken apart, basically, not broken, but taken down, so it can be like thrown in a backpack, very compact, but it's still a
22
rifle.
caliber is very good for that style stuff. You can have a lot of capacity as far as because of weight. So you can have hundreds and hundreds of rounds. You can kill rabbits, squirrels, all sorts of stuff with it. So if
Right.
you need to eat and you're out on the run, then you're able to do that.
Yeah, very important to have your bug out bag, specific guns that you are going to have and grab for your bug
Right.
out bag. Of course, should be cleaned regularly, serviced regularly, shot regularly, because you don't want to have
Right.
bring that one gun for your, or two gun, three gun, whatever, for your bug out bag and it not work.
Yep.
So, of course, always cycle through that and take that to the range and practice.
Sure enough.
So those are just some things that we kind of wanted to touch on for the bug out bag. So now you know, you can call it what you will, grab bag. Grab bag, was that one of the options?
Grab ass, grab bag, shit hit the fan bag,
Should
whatever.
hit the fan bag. I love that one. That was
Yeah.
a really good one.
Yeah.
But whatever you call it, prepare. Your safety is very, very important.
Yes.
And like I said, things that are going on in the world right now, you really do
Cray,
need to
cray.
think ahead. You never know what's going to happen. So,
Yeah.
so definitely think ahead on that. So I hope
Absolutely.
you definitely learned some things on that and can prepare. Shotguns are amazing. Bug out bags are amazing. So ask us any questions you have online. We'd be more than happy to answer any of those questions.
Absolutely.
And thank you again for joining us. Jillian and Shad signing out for today, and we'll see you next week. We're excited about next week's show, so tune in.
We got
Take
a little
care.
bit longer, but we'll just kind of bye.
1 second.